She was headhunted by Cyril Ramaphosa to assist in running blue-chip company Shanduka, a company that she is now the CEO of. This is Women on Wealth, and I'm Nozipho Mbandwa. Tonight we profile Shanduka Group CEO Phuti Mahanyele. Hope Factory CEO Annie McWalter discusses how mentorship can drive the success of female entrepreneurs. And in Power Redefined, we bring you business mogul Basetsana Kumalo. Phuti Mahanyele is a young global leader who has taken on the dual challenge of driving entrepreneurship in South Africa and the national responsibility that comes with it. I sat down with her to find out why she gave up a lucrative job in the United States to return to South Africa.
Well, it was a time when democracy was really being lived in South Africa, in that we were having the new government being formed. And so it was a time of, I think, great peace and happiness for many South Africans, because we were having freedom for the first time. And I wanted to be among South Africans here, because one thing that I knew was that certainly we would see a change in the economy in terms of participation in the economy by Black people. And I wanted to be amongst those people. And so that was really the time for me. I was coming out of university, and it was an opportune time to be coming into South Africa.
Has democracy delivered, not only for you, but for women broadly?
I think certainly, given the huge challenges that our democracy has had to face, I think that there's a lot that has been done. I think that what we often don't look at is the various challenges that the government has had to face, in trying to deal with the various, hardships that South Africans have faced for many years, be it in education, be it in public works, whatever area it is. There's been significant challenges that the government has faced. And I think that against those challenges, a lot more has been done than what is actually brought to the surface. It's funny, I was actually thinking just some time ago that, I wish there would be more being said by government, by the work that they are doing, because a lot is being done and a lot has been done. As we now go forward, it's important for us to see what has already been delivered.
You've always been seen as a champion for entrepreneurs and for education broadly. And as you speak now about the work that still needs to be done by government, if you could dictate to the government what the priorities especially in entrepreneurship and in education, should be, what would that be? Yeah,
well, I think certainly we have the right focus now in terms of focuses on exactly that, on entrepreneurship and on education. And in education, making sure that we have more education available for more people around the country. Because one of the problems that we had was that we had good education facilities, but being made available not for all South Africans, and that is now, it's now changed. And also just making sure that we have funds being available for young people around South Africa. And then in terms of entrepreneurship, pushing that more. But I think the difficulty has also been in this being seen as a government, a priority only,
right,
when the private sector also has a big role to play in that. In providing education as well as in entrepreneurship as well.
Let's go back to the day you got the call from now Deputy President Ramaphosa to come and join this particular group. Yeah. What changed in your life since then?
A significant amount has changed. Working with the now Deputy President, working with Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa was an amazing time. I worked with him for 10 years. And just watching his humility, the hard work ethic that he had, it's been a lot to be able to learn from him, not by listening to the things that he said, but just by watching him. Watching the way that he would engage, whether he would be talking to someone who is a security at the gate or talking to a board member, it would be the same interface, real interest in the person and, and knowing who everyone is.
How's that influenced your leadership style now as you sit as chief executive of the group?
It's been important for me to be able to learn from that, understanding the importance of being the same person always, of being humble, of not allowing your role to dictate the person that you become, but being the same person that you always are. And that humility. I mean, for me, just learning from all of that has been very. I think it's been very helpful.
You've been described as one of the most influential women in business. You've been described as a young global leader. You've been described as a woman to watch in South Africa. All of these accolades, but let's bring it down to Phuti in her simplistic form. What wakes you up in the morning? What keeps you going? What keeps the engine going?
I feel so fortunate to be able to make a difference, to be able to work with people who are making a difference in other people's lives, and to be in an organization such as Shanduka. And I cherish that so much. And so it wakes me up to know that I can be amongst people like that, and people who love what they do. Not everyone has that opportunity, and I just cherish that. That wakes me up.
Work-life balance, does it exist in light of all these accolades as well?
Yeah.
How do you manage to keep the seesaw straight?
Yeah, that is the area that can be a bit of a difficulty, because what happens is that you just love what you do, and you sometimes you don't realize that maybe you're spending a bit more time in work than you should.
Are you guilty of spending more time at work than you should on other things?
I've been worse in the past. And I think I'm getting better at it, but it's it can get difficult because you love what you do. It doesn't feel like work always.
Enterprise development organization, the Hope Factory, helps to grow small businesses. Earlier, I sat down with Hope Factory CEO Annie McWalter to talk about the pillars of the organization and hope that they are dishing out.
We have a number of programs. We have 6 programs in total, but the core of all of our programs is mentorship. So every person that comes onto our program has a full-time mentor, and that's how we grow the person to be able to grow the business.
What value does mentorship then bring into a young startup?
Mentorship's very key with regards to helping a person guide their entrepreneurial journey. So mentors form a guide. Sometimes they teach skills, sometimes they are there to coach, at times just to be a spring, just a soundboard for different ideas. So mentorship's key for growing entrepreneurs.
But do you get a sense that entrepreneurs are always aware of this value that you speak about, and that they recognize the need to have somebody who's tried and tested that journey guiding them along the way? Or is it about, this is my idea, I'm going to try and see it through?
I think that a lot of entrepreneurs start out doing it on their own, but in time they realize that it's quite a lonely journey, quite a tough journey, and more often than not they tend to look for a mentor. And I think when they are open to mentoring, then people will show up as their mentors. The Hope Factory provides those mentors, so all our mentors are people who've run their own businesses before, so they walked that journey before.
Let's look at that journey of finding a mentor. How do you know that you found a good business mentor, and how should you be looking in the first place?
I think if you find a good mentor by looking at what you are needing in your business. So if there's areas of that you don't know enough about, you can find someone who has very good knowledge in that area. And that is the first step of if you are open to learning and growing in a particular area, then you will find someone in that. I think it is difficult sometimes to find mentors, people who are willing to just give of their time for free. That's why the Hope Factory has this enterprise development organization, and it has full-time mentors.
How do you structure that relationship so that you're both getting the most out of that mentorship relationship?
What we do is it's structured around the entrepreneur's goals and purposes, and they need to dig deep and say, why am I in business? Because what our whole philosophy is around, if you grow that person and grow their vision, they will be able to grow their business. So that's what we start off with, is what are their goals, what is their purpose, why have they come into this business? And then we do a business analysis, and through that you can start to see where there's some strengths and where there's some weaknesses, and from there the entrepreneur can set their goals with regards to how they can grow their business, and the mentor guides them with regards to that.
If there's been a absolutely successful relationship that you've observed over the years, and maybe that's resulted in a successful business, is there one that comes to mind?
Yeah, we've got quite a few, and actually quite a few women come to mind. We have an entrepreneur called Puso Fisher, who does events and photography. In the first 6 months of her business, her turnover doubled. We also have another entrepreneur who's in a different industry, manufacturing, the mogul, the drink, and she came to us, and also her turnover grew by 51% and her profits grew by 37%. So we've seen the actual kind of bottom line increases. But besides that, of the actual figures, we can see people growing on our programs.
You made a rather important point, and you mentioned that there are quite a number of women who have success stories. Do women fare better in a mentorship relationship than men do?
I wouldn't be able to say that they maybe fare better. I think that they're possibly a little bit more open to help sometimes. And funny enough, it hasn't been specifically that we've recruited for women, but about 65% of our entrepreneurs on our programs are women. So maybe that does indicate that women are more seeking for mentors. But I think that it depends on whether the person's open to it or not.
Every week we bring you a woman who is flexing her power muscles on the global stage. Let's take a look at former Miss South Africa and business tycoon Basetsana Kumalo. Basetsana Kumalo turned her beauty queen success into a billable brand. While she was the reigning Miss South Africa back in 1994, she began presenting on lifestyle television show Top Billing. This led to the formation of Tulopilo Productions, which Kumalo owns 50% of, with Top Billing remaining the company's flagship brand. Kumalo's newest television venture is the production of popular reality show Our Perfect Wedding that has received raving reviews from South African audiences. The show follows South African couples as they put the final touches to their traditional and Western nuptial ceremonies. She also owns her own clothing label, eyewear range and cosmetics range, besides being involved in a number of other businesses. Kumalo is one of South Africa's most recognizable faces and continues to be a force to be reckoned with in the business world. That's all we have time for this week's episode of Women on Wealth. Remember that we love talking to you, so follow me on Twitter at @NoziPombandra, and don't forget that our hashtag is #Wow410. Let us know who you would like to see on the couch, and of course who is redefining the concept of power in your world. Until next time, stay empowered.